Good evening everyone. Thank you very much for joining me at this time in this tutorial. So in this one we are going to again talk about some more basic things related to Kiwi MD library which we guys can use for developing various kind of mobile applications. So let's without wasting any time dive into the lecture and check out how can we create different kind of tables and add different kind of features to those tables in using Kiwi MD in our mobile application, right? So the first thing which you have to do is you'll have to import this data tables, right? MD data table, which is there in this data tables feature, or you can say library, right? And then there is this thing DP, with the help of which you can pass the distance you want to see in between the two fields of your table, right, on your mobile application screen. So with the help of these two things, now I'm going to tell you how you can create a beautiful table, how you can add different features to your table you have on your mobile application screen. So let's come down over here inside this build function. So you can see we have this variable screen in which we have created the object of our screen, and then we are returning the value of this screen named variable. Just between these two, we can have another variable with name table, and let's make use of MD data table. And the first thing I would like to define is the name of our columns. So I would like to have this first column with name food. So for that, I'll have to make use of this column data named field, column data named attribute. Now it accepts only a tuple value. Remember this thing. So for that, we can just put this food, so which is going to be the name of my first field in the table. And then what is the distance, at what distance you would like to see the name of the second field getting reflected. So that you can define with the help of this DP function. I would like to see a gap of 30 pixels at least, right? So 30 I have passed to it. Similarly, if you want to okay, I am making a mistake over here. I'll have to put this inside this bracket, inside these rectangular brackets. Yeah, now perfectly fine. And then here we'll have to put this bracket. Okay, is everything fine? No, I'll have to put it inside it. Yeah, so that's the way you can pass value to this column data. Right now, in order to define another field, because right now if you will save the changes and run this code, you will, I'm getting this error now. Why I am getting this error? Does not match opening parenthesis. Okay, so here we'll have to put another bracket. I think now it is perfectly fine. So if I will run the app, I'm not going to see anything over on my screen. Why? Because there is only one field right now in this table. Okay, we'll have to define one more field if we want to see the table getting reflected. So what we can do, we can simply put a separator here, and we can copy this whole thing, and then we can paste it here. Let's have this field name calories, right? And I want to see a gap of, let's say 30 pixels, right, in between the calories and the table border. So again, nothing is visible to us. Why is it so? Let me just check it once. So column data is perfectly fine. MD data table, food is there. Okay, and then we have this calories. Fine. Okay, you know why we are not able to see anything? It's because we haven't added this table to our screen yet. So in order to add our table to the screen, it's very simple. You can use this code add underscore screen dot add underscore widget. Right, that's the way we can add something to our screen and get it reflected on our mobile applications window. So that's it. And now if I will run the code, I hope this time I'll be able to see the table. Yes. So both the names are both the field names are visible to me, and it's a kind of table. It's not looking like a table, but yes, you can take it as a table. Fine, so that's the way you can, define fields of your table. It's time for us to now enter some data for these two fields. How to do that? Again, it's very simple. We can come here and then we can use this row data attribute, and then we can simply pass some values to this row data. But in order to make it more simple for you, let me just tell you what exactly you can do. So you can simply copy this whole thing till this point, and then you can paste it here. Now what you have to do, you have to just change this column to row, and now it has become row data, and then you can pass values for both these fields. So this is for the first field, burger, and what are the calories? 300. Let's say burger gives us 300 calories, and over here we can have oats, and from oats let's say we get 150 calories, right? So we can pass 150 like this. Let's now save the changes and run the code and see what are we going to get as a final output. So you can see we are getting two more rows, and the data which we just entered here, it's getting reflected in the table. So it's now like a table, and on if I am bringing my cursor on these rows over here, so they are getting highlighted also, right? Okay, it's time for us to now define the size of our table. If you want to do that, you can simply use size underscore hint attribute. Simply put size underscore hint here, and then you can pass the dimensions of your table. Suppose you want to have a table of, let's say, a table which has 90% of the width of the total mobile app screen, right? A table whose width is equal to 90% of 90% of the width of the application's window. So point 0.9 you can put here. Similarly, you can define the width also. Now when you will run the code, so this is what you are going to get as a final output, right? So that's the whole table, and it is looking much more beautiful. Okay, so it is perfectly fine. It's time for us to now make it look more attractive. So how can we do that? Again, we can use the position hint attribute in order to place it right in the middle of the screen. Suppose hint, and then there are it accepts dictionary, as you guys know very well. We have used it in the previous lectures also. So there are two things you can mention here: center underscore x. So I'm passing it a value of zero point 0.5 because I want to see it getting reflected in the middle of my mobile app screen. Similarly to the other attribute also, which is center underscore y, I am passing zero point 0.5. Now if I will save the code and run it simply, so that's the output I am going to get. You will be able to see the output very soon, no worries. Okay, it's already there. Let me close this window. So this is what, sorry, not this one. Saving the changes and running the code again. Okay, so we are getting an error. Why? Because here we'll have to remove this thing from here. I think now it is fine. Center X is equal to this, zero point 0.5 center Y. Okay, I'll have to remove this whole thing. I pasted the line twice. I think, that's the reason. Okay, still I am getting some errors. It should not be there. Okay, I think now it is running perfectly fine. And this is what we are getting. So uh, the table is there right in the center, and you can see as I am reducing the size of the window, the size of the table is also getting reduced. Right. So it's looking beautiful now. Let me just close the window. It's time for us to add one more row to our table. So for doing that, sorry, one more column to our table. So for doing that, we can repeat the same steps. We can copy this and then we can place put a separator, and here we can, I'm changing it to food, and this one I am changing it to, let's say, number. Okay, so number is going to be the first column, then we are going to have food, and then we'll have calories. Let me just run the code and check out the output. So we are getting this output, but the window is getting automatically closed. You know why it is getting automatically closed? It's because we haven't passed any values. The way we have passed for food and calories, the way we have passed these values for the two different fields we have defined here, we haven't passed any value for this number. So what we can do, we can come inside this tuple and let's have a value over here in the first row for this number, and similarly we can have another value, some other value for this food in the second row. Let's save the changes, and now if you will run the code, so this is what you will get as an output, and the window will not close automatically itself the way it was happening earlier. Right, so it's looking much beautiful right now. It's time for us to see how can we add some checkboxes to our table rows. So for adding checkboxes to our table rows, what we can do, we can simply come up over here, and then we can use this check named attribute. Simply pass true to this attribute, and now when you will run the code, so this is what you will get to see. So checkboxes are visible to us. If I am clicking this checkbox, I'm able to see tick mark, right? And if I want to select both of them in one go, I can simply click this. Right, so this is how you can add, that is the way you can add checkboxes to the rows of your table. It's time for us to now check out how can we bind our table with some functions. So if you want, suppose the user click the table and something should happen. So for that, you can make use of some function and bind it to your table. And how you will do that? It's very simple. It is again very simple. You can come down over here, right? And then you can use this table dot bind function, and suppose you want that on if the user clicks on any of the checkboxes, so something should happen. So what we can do for that something, we can define a separate function. Let's say we have a function with name check press, which we would like the interpreter to execute for us if the user clicks the checkbox. So that's the way we can define the whole code. Similarly, if you want something should happen if the user clicks on any of the rows present in the table, so you can just change it to row, right? And then you can simply uh, I think it is fine like this, or we'll have to change it. We'll have to change it to row. Yeah, this is fine. And here we can change it to row. So this function should be executed by the interpreter in case the user clicks on any of the rows. Right, now we have to define these functions, codes for these functions. What should exactly happen? So if the user clicks on any of the checkboxes, I would like the data present in the row in which that checkbox is there should be visible to us in this console panel. So how can we do that? So we can come down and let's define a function. Let's define this function check press over here like this. right? And simply we can pass some parameters to it. Let's have self instance underscore table. Then we can have current row, right? So now I would like the interpreter to print for us the value of these two variables. So simply I'm passing it as a parameter to this print function. And same thing I would like to do with this second function also, which is your row press, right? Okay, and here I'll have to change the name of this variable to something else. Let's have instance row here, and here also I would like to have instance row. Right, saving the changes, and now let me just check whether I will get the required output or not. So if I will run the code, this is what I am getting, and right now that's the whole thing which is visible to us in the console panel. Let me remove everything from here. Coming back to my application, the moment I'll click this checkbox, one burger and 300 should come over here in this console panel. Let's see whether we are going to get the required output or not. Okay, so we are getting this output, and I think this function is working perfectly fine, which we have defined over here. Right, similarly, if I click this checkbox, so I am getting this output. So it's amazing. It's actually working. If I will click it again, yes, I am getting the output. And simply if I will click any of these rows, again I am getting some output. So this function is working perfectly fine, and that's the reason you can bind something to your table, right? It's very simple job. Now it's time for us to create some more rows in our table. To do that, we can simply follow this step. I'm copying it and I'm putting it over here. I'm going to make different instances of this. I'm going to have, I would like to have 10 rows, let's say. So this is the first row, this is the second one, then we are going to have third row, fourth, in the fourth one, this is the data. I'm going to have seventh, then eighth, then ninth. Okay, so we have, I think, 11 rows. That is perfect. Now it's time for us to just change the values over here. So in the second row, I would like to see uh, in let's have pasta, and I'm changing the value to 350, changing the value to 250, and we can have changing the value to 450, 340, 60. Okay, so as you can see, we have 10 different rows. I'm removing it for now. Let me save the changes and run the code once and see whether we are going to get the required output or not. So we are able to see the data of the first 6 rows, but what about the other 4 which we have defined here? Right, we are not able to see the other 4. We are only able to see the first 6 rows. Now, if you want to see the other 4 rows, what you can do, you'll have to define an attribute here, right? In this code, you'll have to define an attribute. And what is the name of that attribute you can use for getting the other 4 rows also? So you can come up over here and simply you can use this rows underscore num. So row number. I would like to see the first 10 rows. Let me save the changes. And now if I will run the code, so this is what I am going to get. So I'm able to see the data of the first 7 rows. If I want to see the data of the other three rows, the remaining three rows, I'll have to scroll it down, and I now you can see I'm able to fetch the data of the other three rows also, and all the 10 rows are visible to us. Right, the moment I will click any of these check boxes, what will happen here in this console log? I will get the required information like this. Right, so it is working perfectly fine. Now, if you guys have any queries, anything related to whatever we have covered till date related to KVMD, right, you guys are most welcome to let me know about the same. Please put your queries in the comment section. I am checking it right away, and I'm going to give you the answers, the solutions of your queries. Please do share it with me quickly. I am there on the chat box. Various kind of mobile applications. Right now, I'm not able to see any queries. In case you have any query, in case you come across any issues while designing this application, do let me know about the same so that I can help you guys in resolving the same. Right. And just give me a short moment before ending this lecture. I would like to show you something. There are various kind of courses which Geeks for Geeks has come up with. Just check them out, visit the main website of Geeks for Geeks, and definitely you will find many courses appealing which we are providing to our students, and that too in a very low cost. Right, we are charging a reasonable amount of money for each of the courses which we are providing, and definitely every course is extremely beneficial. The way we have designed the course, the syllabus that we have kept for each of the courses, it's really going to give you a lot. You're going to take away a lot of things from the lectures we are going to provide you in the courses which we are providing right now. How you'll see the courses, let me help you guys with that also. Suppose you're searching for a course on block based coding or app lab, simply type Geeks for Geeks app lab, and you are going to come across some web page where right on the top you'll find the link with which you can get yourself redirected to the course which we are providing right now to the students based on this app lab. Right, so here you will find the course details. Right, these are the course details. In case you have any queries related to anything, so you guys can contact us on our toll-free number. Just get in touch with our executive department, and you can ask all your queries from them, get them sorted out, and just go with the course. Okay, if suppose you're searching for something like, let's say, a DSA, which is again a very popular thing in the market today, data structures and algorithm. So basically we use it for giving a proper structure to our data. It can be possible that there is an inventory of 1 billion records, and you are asked to find out a particular thing in that inventory. So it is going to be a very difficult task, but with DSA it becomes very easy to locate something in a structured data. So it helps us in structuring the data. So that's the, in this price we are providing you with an amazing course based on DSA. If you want, you guys can just log in into this website and go for the course. Check out the details. Get your queries sorted out if you have any related to anything which is mentioned in our on our website, and after that you can just go ahead and take the course. Then if suppose you're searching for something related to, let's say, basic Excel thing. Okay, so Geeks for Geeks Excel course, and you're going to come across this hyperlink with which you can get yourself redirected to the course which we guys are providing to the students, with which they can get everything related to Excel. Fine. So we have everything starting from the basics to the advanced. It's your call with what you want to go. Suppose you want to go with some Python course, you're looking for some Python course, you can check that also out on our website. So free Python course for beginners, Geeks is providing. It's amazing, right? And for finding out the course details, you can visit this hyperlink. It will again redirect you to a web page where you will find all the details of this course. So here you will get all the details, right? Just it's a free of cost course. You can just take this course, and if you find it good, you can go ahead and check out the other courses also which we are providing. So we are providing courses on everything. Whether it's related to C++, Java, Python, or it's related to some competitive programming or machine learning, web development, puzzles, projects, everything we are providing today to the students. Give us a chance to prove our strength to you guys. And you know if you will like, if definitely you are going to enjoy everything, and you will definitely take away many things from the tutorials which we will provide you in the course you are going to take. So this is it from my side in this lecture. Hope you guys enjoyed this one a lot. Have a great day ahead. Bye bye, take care, and stay safe, be healthy.